Hey there, Hulk here, playing some more Galactic Civilizations 3 today, and well today, we are left off at the last episode as usual. And last episode, we did talk a bunch about all types of resources and we did gather a bunch of them as well, so you can check it out if you want to. And this episode, I will be talking a lot about influence, and what it's used for, and how to get it, and well, everything about it. So, influence is basically your how much you're influencing around the area. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty self-explanatory. So, you can see your influence area around here. All those blue areas that we have, it's our influence areas. And around that starbase as well, and around this colony, and well, on that colony as well, if we skip a turn, it will probably go to those tiles as well, and that's your influence area. And if you select a colony, and if you hover over there, you can see your influence, and every influence every civilization there has. And whoever has more influence over an area controls that area. And for example, that's under the influence of that civilization, whatever that is. I'm not sure. So, what is influence for? Influence help you with many things. It's one of the most important things in this game, actually. When you have an influence area, you can capture colonies and starbases with that influence. That's a way of securing your area because other civilizations are much less likely to attack you if you have an influence around the area. And well, there are a couple more things, but I will come to them later when I'm gonna talk about them. So right now, here we have this huge influence area because I have been doing a bunch of things to get some influence, and that's our capital. That's also providing us extra influence. And well, what affects your influence? First of all, your influence is affected by your happiness, your approval. For example, in here we have an approval of 100%, and as you can see, high approval bonus is plus 100% influence growth. And in total, we have 99% in approval, and that's also pretty high. We do get a lot of influence growth because of that. In here, we also have 100% approval and 100% improvement growth, and well, that's really helping our influence grow fast, which is pretty nice for us because that's mainly what I'm focusing on. And what else influences your influence growth? Your influence growth is affected by different improvements, like we have a galactic council. That's because we are going benevolent, we have this option, and if we get that, we get plus 25 influence growth, for example. And there are a couple of things like that. Like, for example, that missionary center also gets 25% influence growth. I guess that's also from benevolent. And as you can see, also in here, we have plus 50% for admirable because we have a pretty nice colony that people are happy, and we haven't reached our population cap. Our people in here are pretty happy, so that's admirable. High approval, that's also because people are happy, and because it's the capital city, because of the capital city, we get plus 10 influence. And we can see it on another planet as well. We get plus 1 because of the colony capital, because it's not our main planet. We get 100% bonus for high approval, but we get minus 10% because it's shrouded. It means that it has a cloud around it, and people are not really influenced by this planet, but that's just a trait of the planet, and there's really not much you can do about that. And one thing else that really affects your influence is a smuggler colony. we don't really have that. I don't think that we will ever find that, because yeah, that's a pretty rare thing. Well, not a rare thing, but if you don't have it, there's no reason for looking for it. So, a smuggler colony is a trade resource, and that really affects your tourism and your influence. And if you find a planet with that and you are going for influence growth, it's pretty nice to have it, and you can just send in a colony ship right away to capture that before anyone else does. So, for example, in here, in our starbase, we have an influence growth per turn of 6, and in Planet 3, in our planet in here, we have an influence growth of 1.9, so building a Galactic Council in there to get plus 25 influence growth could be nice, but well, that's pretty close to our Earth, and so we wouldn't get many benefits from that influence growth. But on Earth, we don't have any planets in here, so all of this area should be influenced by Earth or any starbase that we build, and considering there aren't any resources or anything in there, yeah, maybe not the smartest idea to build a starbase. So what I'm gonna do is I will, for example, build an missionary center, because it has an influence of 25, which is really high, and a missionary center will increase our influence by 25%. So 25% increase in here would mean that it increases by 1/4, which is 6, 6 point something, I guess. And in here it would mean that it only increases by, well, we can't build it in here, but for example, in that small planet, it would mean that it would increase only by 0.5. And so, yeah, by comparison, building one missionary center on our Earth is really beneficial for us. And so I will just get that and build it in here, and also we get plus 0.5 influence growth bonus for the adjacency, and with that our influence should really increase, and we should be able to get all of this area under our influential area pretty quickly. And even if we keep on growing this fast, we have grown like 7 tiles in how many turns? 26 turn, but well, early up in the game you are not really generating any influence, and right now like we have really grown fast. Like in 26 turns, getting this many tiles around you under your influence is pretty powerful. So yeah, we should be able to get a lot of area in a couple more turns, and well, we would be able to maybe even get that. And if we have, and I'm just waiting to talk about that to see if we can have a colony to our side, and if we can, then I will talk about how we do that. And also, as you can see, we are also generating some influence on the resources and everything that we are getting, because we are affecting them, and that's why we get influence around them. And if we like start doing trade with other civilizations, we would start getting some influence on their colonies as well, because we are going to be affecting them. They are going to be communicating with our people, and so they will be being influenced. And when you're going for influence, there is a nice thing to keep in mind. Uh, Influential growth is really supported by the benevolent ideology. So, if you, so for example, these two, they do provide a lot of influence growth, as I already said. Like, I guess this one was the one who provided. Yeah, this one provides admiration that provides plus 50% influence growth on our capital, and this one helps. This one lets us get a missionary center which provides plus 25% influence growth. And for example, enticing is when you get this, you get all of the every colony, every starbase that is under your influence right now are converted to your side, and that this allows you to do that. But the moment you get that, every colony under your influence gets transported, but the colonies you later get don't get transported. So before getting this, you should probably wait to get at least 2 or 3 colonies on your side so that you can get this and instantly get all of them to your side. And there are some pretty nice other things as well in here that help you with increased influence. For example, these ones plus 50% morale, plus 5 morale, and so those kinds of things really help in getting your influence up. So if you are going, as I already said, if you are going for influence, probably benevolent is the best, well, the best ideology that you can go. And for example, things like these also really help. Some research that, for example, cultural forum helps you extend your cultural influence by increasing your influence growth by 10 and by 25%. So I, for example, will go for that definitely. And there are some different things like in diplomacy, there's an embassy that you can make that also uh, increases your influence growth, and I already got some of the other things that provide influence because as I said, I'm going pretty much for influence and that's it. And so these ones do really help you with diplomacy and influence, and so it's nice to go for them. I think they are under colonization. No, they are under culture in here. They're cultural exchange and diplomacy, and so most of these do provide some influence. And so the cultural tech tree is nice to go if you're going for that. So starting with universal translator and just continuing with that. And thanks to our ideological research, now we can get a new citizen to be our leader. Well, to be a leader. So if we train them to be a leader, you can go under your civilization and you can see them in here. So we have 4 leaders, one of them is an administrator by default, and the other 3 you can just take them out and place them wherever you want. But I'm going for social construction because I don't really need administrative points. I do have enough right now, 7 points is enough for me. And you can increase your research, you can increase your social construction with that, and this is the global effect, 18% social construction bonus, so it's pretty it's a pretty big bonus. Like 6% per leader is pretty lot, and so having some leaders is also nice. And you can only get them after you get a specific technology. Yeah, you can get them only after you get insert interstellar governance in here under the culture tree, and that's what you want to go for if you want to have a big government probably. And for example, we in here have a colony that provides increased influence growth. The same way our colony has decreased influence growth in here in Planet 3, that colony Albion 3 has increased influence growth thanks to it being serene, and why not get that while we're here, right? Because that may actually help us, because there is a civilization here in between our colonies, and so having that will mean that we'll get influence growth in there as well, and with that we should be able to get them on our side with getting them under our influence, and we will be able to get that perfect colony as well after we get rid of that atmospheric toxins, and that requires some research. And with that as well, we should really be influencing this area a lot. And then another nice thing to keep in mind is you can always just construct uh, starbases that will be cultural. Like I think they are called cultural starbases, and with that, you should be able to just construct a starbase, get a culture ring, and that will really increase your influence growth. And get a archaeology lab, and that way we will be collecting that research relic, which will be increasing our research, and we will be really influencing this area where we don't have any colonies at all. So that's also pretty nice way to increase your influence around there. But the only downside is that really uses up a lot of administration. So yeah, you might need to build a couple of administrative buildings around the area to increase your administrative capacity. And yet another nice person to claim as a nice citizen to claim as a diplomat. So if we get a diplomat, we can just go to our diplomacy screen in here, see all the civilizations around us, and for example, we do have pretty nice relationships with Altarian Empire. We do have real bad relationships with Crane Syndicates, but we don't have many relationships with Skylines. If we press on Skylines, we can assign diplomats from down here, and we can, for example, how many diplomats do we have? We have two diplomats. We can assign one of them to them and one of them to the Altarian Resistance so that we have better relationships with them. And as you can see, recent assignments will take effect next turn, and when we go to the next turn, we should see our relationships get better. Yeah, and by the way, you unlock diplomats by getting diplomats from Technology Tree. And after you get the diplomats also, you can increase your influence from here. We do have a lot of construction, so we don't really need that, so we can just move our leaders to increase our influence by 6% each, and diplomats also increase your influence if you're not using them, and that way you can increase your influence as well. And for example, in here we have a cultural starbase, and nice thing to increase your influence in the starbase is to get these extra modules. For example, this one costs 100 gold and 1 Promethean, and Promethean is you are generating a lot of it pretty often because it's pretty easy to encounter and it is used for a lot of things, and just 1 Promethean for plus 10 and plus 25% influence growth is pretty nice. So getting those and information up as well, 20 influence growth plus 33% influence growth is pretty nice. Minus 3 Promethean cost, yeah, maybe that's way too much, but those first couple of increased modules for your starbases are pretty nice because those really increase your influence growth in the starbase. But since after a point your influence growth really decreases in speed, for example, like in here, our Earth is really generating a lot of influence points, but since it's really big, its influence area, as you can see, in all of that time we only generated one more tile of influence, and so yeah, that's getting way too much of it. It's not nice. You can get them if you're close to other civilizations to get to dominate their influence area, but when it's just on its own like this, it's enough to get two of those. But still, getting two of those can't really make a difference in how fast they grow. And if any civilization decides to come in and build another starbase next to yours, you will be able to influentially dominate it. For example, in here we have built an influential starbase. I didn't see that planet before, and well, as you can see, we are fighting for the dominance of this area. So in here, we can build the interstellar exchange to get more influence because we will definitely need that. And in a few turns, this tile should be ours, and those tiles maybe will be ours as well. Because they only have 19 influences in here, and 19 influences is not a lot. Like, look how much we are generating in our capital. We have 407 influence in there, and 200 influence in like 8 blocks away. The closest tile is how much influence do they even have? They have 2000 influence in there, so yeah, those should be pretty easy to influence. So we'll try that. So yeah, as you can see, we just built this one turn ago and we are already influencing that area and pretty heavily. And in a few turns when we start influencing the outer tiles as well, we should the get those 3 tiles as well. And that way probably we will be able to get that colony. I don't know, is it way too far away? Maybe. But we will find out. And here it is, what I mean. We have an influential starbase in here that just destroyed another civilization's spaceship. I don't know why they attacked that. Anyways, here we have their colony. And we have so much influence in there that we are just influencing their colony as well. And as you can see, foreign influence in this world has become a high that population has begun to rebel. And well, with that, we should be able to culture flip them in a few turns, and they should be ours. So when that happens, I'll be back. And as you can see, their other world is also under our control now, because they are not going for influence. I guess they are going for malevolent ideology, which is a war ideology, but early up in the game, that's not powerful. Oh, they are invading us. How nice. Yeah, we lost one other planet. Um, oh, we lost our capital. How nice. Yeah, that might be a problem. I'm losing all of my planets. I don't have any defenses. And, well, this is basically it, how you should convert planets, but nobody knows how this works, and somehow they should be converted in a few turns, but they are not being converted, so I'm just waiting. Well, anyways, this is basically what influence is for. Just to convert planets if they ever convert, but they're not. So, I guess I will have to deal with this next episode, so I guess this will be it for this episode. I hope I'll see you later, and bye bye.